never rests.
Counting careless in the sky. What a thrilling time to be alive.
It's cocktail party time. And I know everybody is more than ready for this one. Welcome to the Georgia Show here on the DawgsHQ YouTube channel, also streaming over on the X platform and Facebook. Look, there's a lot of ways to find us: Spotify, Apple, whatever. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us there as well. We appreciate you tuning in. It's the Georgia Show. I'm Jake Roos. He's Jake Rowe. And we are talking some dogs today. Before we get into that, though, we got to shout out our friends over at Brunt Workwear. Look, you can save $10 right now with code DawgsHQ. I've been putting some work in on these things, man. They're a little bit busted up, but they're going to clean up real nice. It's been raining like hell in North Georgia and all week, and the Brunts have been keeping me clean, man, keeping me dry, keeping me warm. So shout out for a great product. Look, like I said, I make no qualms about it. I'm not a job site guy. I'm not working out in the field at all times, anything like that. But I do very much appreciate a good boot, a comfortable boot, and one that will keep me dry. And Brunt Workwear does all of the above. They have crafted a really fantastic product. And like I said, man, they're going to keep you dry just as well. Brunt was tired of workwear brands cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up, so they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off at Brunt when you use code DawgsHQ at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use the code DawgsHQ, and you're good to go. Now, after you order, they'll ask where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor. Tell them it was from our show. We would certainly appreciate that. And listen, your feet are going to appreciate you for putting a pair of Brunts on. I can assure you of that. Get over there, check them out. Jake Rowe, it is here, cocktail party weekend, man. An interesting edition of this game, I think, for many people, certainly because of the shakeups at Florida and Billy Napier out, Billy Gonzalez in. And hoping to kind of, I don't know. I mean, it would go a long way to making the Florida fans feel like they'd righted the ship. Might earn Billy Gonzalez the job, in fact, if he was able to beat Georgia this weekend. I don't know that either of us is going to predict that. We'll have predictions later in the show. But one of the more interesting matchups, I think, in a while for the Georgia Bulldogs and the Florida Gators.
Could be. One of the things that I've talked about kind of all week long is everybody's kind of coaching and playing for their job next year, a chance to make money. And if you can get everybody kind of pulling in the same direction in that scenario, what UCLA did after firing its head coach has gotten a lot of attention. And but I don't know. I mean, it's tough to kind of go back. I mean, I remember Florida fired Ron Zook. He stayed on as head coach, and they gave Georgia a heck of a game in 2004. I know sometimes they fire the coach and there's a surge. Sometimes they fire the coach and everything falls off a cliff. So you don't really know what's going to happen here. And the one thing I will downplay, though, is the fear over, oh, my God, what's Florida going to look like? Everything's going to be new. They're going to put in a new offense. Yeah, and if they do, Georgia's going to run away with this thing. If they just completely revamp everything, because ultimately, when you look at the bye week, everybody needs it at this point in the year to rest and recover. So It's not like they're going to go practice more than 20 hours a week or even meet their 20-hour a week requirement, or not requirement, but limitation in a week like this. And one thing that I will say that kind of has me, and I don't know if it's the final injury report, but, final injury report before we, can talk to you about it. There's one more tonight, and then there'll be another one first thing in the morning. Typically guys don't get hurt this late in the week, though.
Yeah. You've really done something if you've managed to hurt yourself on Friday on travel day. So
yeah, somebody slipped down the steps getting on the plane or something. What's happened. But what really took me back was, and we'll get into Georgia's side of the injury report, Florida's leading receivers out for this game. Florida's got two running backs out and another questionable. And the questionable running back's their third leading rusher in terms of carries. He's only got 15 carries on the year. And so, I look at this game and I see kind of a banged up Florida team. And then I see a Georgia team that's a lot healthier, sans Colby Young, than it was going into the Ole Miss game.
No, I could definitely see that. I think that, yeah, you're spot on with that. The injury situation certainly favors Georgia. I think I wrote in my prediction, my staff predictions today, that this is I would think probably the healthiest that this Georgia team has been all year. In terms of just pure availability, I notwithstanding guys like Colby Young and Talon Taylor, right? But like guys that were fringe, could they go, could they not? I think that this is probably about as healthy as we've seen this Georgia team all year. Monroe Freeling's going to be benefiting from that. Yeah, there you go. So just some unsurprising outs there. Although, you're Thomas Blackshear off of this thing, right? Chase Linton.
Malachi Tolliver's no longer on it. I mean, there's not a Georgia offensive lineman on it at all, which is,
that's first time all year.
Yeah. First time all year. It's first time since we started seeing them because, Ernest Green and Juan Gaston were, I think, questionable going into the Tennessee game when Georgia played its first SEC game, and then you look at Florida and, Trayon Webb, former Georgia commitment, out. Vernell Brown, their leading receiver, out. LJ McCray's been out for a while. Broken foot, I believe, against South Florida. That's a guy Georgia recruited heavily. Aiden Mizell, Aaron Gates.
He's from down there. He's from down around where you are, all right? Those Mizells.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mizells down there, but I don't think Aiden Mizell is from that crew. Shout out to my man Brett Mizell, Jesse Wayne, Marshall, all that crew. Jacoby Jackson is that running back, is their second leading rusher. He's out. Dejon Johnson, Javion Toombs, and Caleb Banks. All of those guys are out for this one. Then you got Duke Clark and Jackson Wade, who are questionable. So, that's a much longer list than Georgia's quartet right here. Now, there's a couple of starters coming into the season that are out. Kyron Jones and Colby Young. Obviously, Talon Taylor was a contributor there. I guess you can count Ethan Barber as a starter too. He did start the opener. But Georgia's list is a lot smaller. They've been dealing without some of these guys for a little while now. Florida has too, but just the Vernell Brown one is very, very big for me. He is far and away, about 60%. Oh, no, more than 60%, about 150%. By 150%, the leading receiver on their team. And for, when you're missing somebody like that, that has been such a big part of the success of your pass game, hasn't reached the end zone yet this year. They use him to run it a little bit. He's a quick screen guy. Listen, they've got dynamic athletes now. Don't get me wrong. Eugene Wilson and Dallas Wilson and J. Michael Sturdivant and all those guys are all very dynamic athletes and can create big plays. But Jake, when I look at it, I think about what Georgia has faced this year on the receiver front, and from an athleticism standpoint, we take these guys to a combine. Florida can hang with anybody. Yeah, and they're really good football players. Too.
Dallas Wilson was one of the elite talents in his class. I don't think he finished. He may have finished number one, but he was definitely a top 3 receiver in that class. They wrestled him away from Oregon, I believe it was, ultimately. But look, these guys are not bums, man. And the same can be said. Look, the guy throwing him the ball, also a pretty darn good player in his own right in DJ Lagway. Some ups and downs, certainly, for Lagway this season. Certainly probably not the season he expected, but a guy who has all the upside in the world. My thing has been this, Jake. I'm with you on the, what happens after the firing of a coach, all that stuff. There's a new element, though, to this, and I think that we probably will see an exodus of transfers from Florida, just like you will with any regime change after the season. Guys are going to want to put some tape together. Guys are going to want to get out there and put their best foot forward, because you're going to just maximize your chances of where you could land, right? And this is an opportunity for those guys to do it against a lot of really talented players. Say whatever you want about Georgia's defense to this point in the season. They do have a lot of guys who are highly thought of out there in the world of college football. So to me, that's what makes it dangerous. It's not necessarily, hey, we're playing, for Billy Gonzalez. It's, hey, I'm trying to go stay in the SEC. I'm trying to make maximum transfer dollars. I better look good on tape. And I'm sure that's what agents are telling guys too.
Yeah, and that's precisely what I was getting to with everybody's, playing for a chance to earn. Everybody's coaching for a chance to earn, because most of these coaches aren't going to be at Florida next year either. Odds are Billy Gonzalez won't be at Florida next year. I mean, he'll be wide receivers coach or offensive coordinator or something somewhere else. So yeah, that's part of it. But also, I do think that, I don't want to try to pick this apart into tiny little bits, but there's some danger in that.
Sure.
There's some danger. You got a bunch of kind of every man for himself. Let's get it going. If you just happen to click, by the way, I didn't realize we're wearing the same hoodie today. That's pretty.
I feel like we're kind of turning into one guy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Are you dressing up for Mario for Halloween?
No, I could though. That would have been a good
contest. I mean, if you put a little red hat on there and it's me.
Yeah, it's a me.
It's a me, Mario. No, I mean it's. Yeah, I don't know, man. This could go either way, and I'm still not to the point that it's kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not dramatic about it. I think Georgia should win, and I'm going to pick Georgia pretty comfortably. But I do think there's some danger here, and the danger is, what Walter White said, I'm the danger. But I think the danger is that if Florida could click, because I do believe everybody is going to come out with their hair on fire. But at the same time, Georgia's coming out of a bye week too, and it's a stretch run, and Kirby's good out of these bye weeks. And, got talking some, when we get into the matchup here in just a second, there are a couple of interesting things I found kind of from the stat standpoint that kind of, I don't know, maybe speak to this game a little bit.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. I think that it is going to be, like I said, I don't want to give the whole show away right now. We're going to have predictions later, so I feel good about it, though. All right. Before we get into how they stack up, we need to talk about our friends over at GameTime.co. And look, if you're trying to go to the cocktail party, GameTime.co is the way to go if you're looking for some tickets. And I would imagine, despite the fact that this is going to be the last Jacksonville stop for a couple of years, this is probably one of the more affordable ones you'd be able to go to. I don't think that the Florida faithful are rallying around the Gators for this one and hoping for anything spectacular. So you can get over to GameTime.co, get your tickets over there. You've got all-in pricing. That's the big thing for me. You get to see all of it right up front. You get to see all your fees, everything included. Here's what your ticket's going to cost. No surprises at checkout. Not that there's any ticket apps out there doing that. I'm sure that you've used. You get the view from your seat as well. And they're backed by the GameTime.co guarantee. So you know your tickets are legit. You know that they are. What's our get-in price? $77. $71. Oh my goodness. Look, like I said, man, this is, if you want to go, this is one of the more affordable ones to go to. So
yeah, if you're a single, you can get in there for $71.
Yeah. So get in there. Look, go down and use Game Time, man. They'll be able to transfer those tickets over to you super quick. You can get them. I mean, last time I used GameTime.co, I got my tickets in about 10 minutes. Okay, right before a game. So a great opportunity for you to go down, be a part of the cocktail party, see it for yourself, and GameTime.co makes it easy to do. They've got some great deals over there. $150 for that view. Come on, outrageous. So if you don't have plans this weekend, drive on down. You'll have a harder time finding hotel rooms than you will tickets. I can assure you of that. But make a day of it. Ride down there to Everbank Stadium or whatever they're calling it now, and get over and see the Dogs take on the Gators with GameTime.co. You can use code ON3 ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions do apply, but would definitely encourage you to use them if you are looking for some tickets this weekend. Jake, you mentioned the matchups in this one, and that you would. I know that you've dove in on this and had a chance to see how things stack up. What's your takeaway here? Is there? I don't, like I said, I think that we are both of the mind that Georgia is in a really good position for this one. That they are the more talented team at the end of the day, but is there a position or a group of positions that you see where Florida might be able to have an edge?
I was getting into it with the receivers a minute ago. When I look at, like I said, I think all of those guys are super talented. I don't know that they're the technicians that Georgia's faced with Chris Brazel and Cam Coleman and not Rashad Singleton. What's the Singleton's kids? Eric Singleton.
Eric, yes.
Ryan Williams and that Alabama crew and the guys at Ole Miss. Like, I think certainly Florida's there athletically, but DJ Lagway hasn't played his best ball. That's another thing too. You look at is like Lagway got off to such a slow start this year because he didn't practice much in the preseason, and that was kind of the reason given. And they're going to change a lot of stuff offensively. That doesn't make much sense. But I tell you where I really like this matchup for Georgia is in the run game. So Florida they're one of several teams in the SEC allowing less than 4 yards per carry, less than 3.5 yards per carry. But if you look a little bit deeper into it, kind of did the same thing with Ole Miss in the passing attack and their pass defense, because Ole Miss came into that game as one of the SEC's best pass defenses. Well, you look and anybody ranked 71st or better nationally in run in rushing offense in terms of yards per carry has gotten Florida for 4 yards a carry. Miami was ranked 71st, and then Texas A&M was a top 30 team, and then Central Florida's a top 15 team, and all those teams ran the ball effectively against Florida. They've kind of feasted on the teams that are worse than 71st nationally. Most of them in that, either in the high 80s, 90s, even one past 100. So that's something I look at. Florida's pass defense, you look at yards per attempt, 7.8. That's not good. That's bad. That's rough. Florida's not yards per play, not very good in terms of defense. And I think that the common for refrain is, and I've heard a lot of people say this, hey, Florida can play some defense. Yeah. I mean, they've shown some spurts, but Florida's defense isn't better than Georgia's in any statistical category other than sacks. And that's something that, Georgia has shown the ability to get a lot better at after this bye week, especially under Glenn Schumann. So I like the matchup of Georgia's offense against Florida's defense. And then when you look at Vernell Brown and the running back situation, I think Georgia can win this battle up front and, play well offensively, win the battle up front on defense. Yeah, maybe give up some yards in the pass game. You may miss a tackle on Eugene Wilson or Dallas Wilson may go up and get a 50-50 ball against you or run past your defense once or twice. But I think all in all, when you look at a 4-quarter game, there's just a lot of reasons to like Georgia in this game unless Florida comes out and plays completely over his head, which, listen, I think is perfectly possible, like to just come out and put your best game together that you've played all season. But I also think that it's probably not likely.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, the possibility exists, right? I mean, the possibility exists that Gunnar Stockton throws 4 interceptions tomorrow too. I mean, it's all on the table. Would I bet on that? No, I would not. And I think that the expectation, I do think it's a fair expectation that Georgia probably will give up some yards in the passing game because they've done that consistently this year. That's been one of the big weaknesses of this defense is kind of stopping the air attack in the first half, at least. I think that people are looking at DJ Lagway and saying, how's this guy going to do in the first half?
And it's not like teams are biting off huge chunks against Georgia either. Like you look and the big plays aren't crazy. I mean, they're actually pretty solid at preventing the big plays. It's just moving the sticks on third down. over and over and over again. And listen, of all the things that folks want to say about Glenn Schumann and Georgia's defense, that's an anomaly. I mean, I've cited this stat before, but in Schumann's first year as defensive coordinator, they ranked number 2 nationally. The next year, they ranked number 1 nationally in third down defense. Last year, they were very good at 17th nationally. And now I think they're in the 90s.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge issue.
The thing is, too, though, I get all the frustration around that because I think people could much sooner understand, hey, they're just chunking us up. You know, these big, gigantic plays rather than they're consistently eating us on third down. That's a lot more frustrating of a thing to watch.
It is, and it's kind of surprising considering Georgia's been as good as it has against the run because they have taken a big step forward against the run.
Oh, no question about it. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't sit here and say, yeah, this is a place where they have an edge, really. You know, I do think that DJ Lagway will be I do think that he'll probably be effective. I think that, like I said, and you said, Dallas Wilson, Eugene Wilson, these are good players, man. I mean, these are guys who are Georgia chased after both of them and really wanted them. And so they're not incapable. And if you're going to get Georgia, it's going to be probably through the air because that's been the case throughout the year to this point. So that's the matchup I'm watching as well. I'll be interested to see how the Dogs respond to that one because I think everybody is hoping, and somebody mentioned it up here. John Freeman said, I believe we're going to see a different defense the second half of the year. My man Kirby. That's what everybody's betting on. I mean, realistically, if you could put those pieces together and you can get your defense clicking, this is going to be, I mean, this is already a team nobody wants to face. This is going to be an even harder team down the stretch if they're able to get right defensively.
And I think pass rush would go a long way toward helping with that.
Sure.
And I went back and looked at the numbers. Did you know that with Nolan Smith healthy and Jalen Carter banged up, but you know he was in the lineup. You had Michael Williams. Had some good players up there. Robert Beal was a good player. Georgia was worse in sack when it came to sacking the quarterback in the first 7 games of 2022 than it is now. Through 7 games,
that doesn't seem possible.
Through 7 games, Georgia had 7 sacks that year. Georgia's got 8 this year. They were worse. And then then the bye week came. Now Georgia lost Nolan Smith in the Florida game. All right, he tore a pectoral muscle. They lost Nolan Smith. Jalen Carter got healthy. He still only gave him, a couple more sacks on the year after that, but he got healthy. Georgia had 28 sacks in the final 7 games of that or final 8 games of that season. But if you even go to the next year, and it's nowhere near as astronomical of a rise, before the bye week, Georgia was still struggling. They had 12 sacks in 7 games, which would rank them right now, I want to say like 11th, 12th, 13th in the SEC. They came back after the bye in 2023 and ended up with 18 sacks in their final 7 games. So they went from not quite 2 to, in the neighborhood over 2.5.
Right.
So, that is something that I'm kind of keeping my eye on here is, can Georgia get an uptick in sacks? And I don't just mean sacks in terms of, that's the measure of your pass rush. Clearly, Georgia was effective in 2022 in the pass rush before the bye week, effective enough to limit teams severely, but they weren't getting the quarterback on the ground. So the pass rush improved. They started getting more sacks. Well, if Georgia can just improve slightly in the sacks and just affect the quarterback more, I think you'll see them kind of take a big jump in terms of how, that they get off the field on third down, creating some negative plays on first and second down to kind of make it 2nd and 17 and 3rd and 12 and instead of 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 3 a lot. So I think that was something that it caught me off guard too. Like 2022, you're sitting there thinking like, yeah, this team was just dominant start to finish in every category. I mean, those jokers, through the first 7 games, 7 sacks. And then, and again, that's with 2 first rounders just hanging out up there trying to get after the quarterback most plays. And then you come out after the bye week and you just quadruple that in 8 games with 28 sacks down the stretch. It's very common for Georgia to make a big leap coming out of this normal bye week. Like this is the first one's kind of a bonus bye week, and you got 3 games of film to kind of go over. You're still trying to hash out some issues. Now in totality, you look at 7. Where did we go wrong with this stunt? Where did we go wrong with this blitz? You can kind of unwind some of that. And I do expect Georgia to be more effective in terms of affecting the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that would go a long way. Like you said, that would really, really, I think, shape the second half of this season. And that would really probably take care of some of these pass issues as well. Look, Dollar Shave Club.
Wait a minute. Did we get down to a mustache here just for Dollar Shave Club because we love them that much?
Yeah, absolutely. So. Absolutely. Of course. Look, you can get over. You can check out their new collegiate handles. Look, you got Georgia everything, man. Put it on your razor, too. They've got a full line of Georgia razors over there in terms and look, if you're maybe you're a Florida fan who stumbled upon this and you want to know our thoughts, they got that too. I mean, they got everybody covered. So get over there, check out their new handles, and look, they got a full line of products over at Dollar Shave Club. It's not just razors, okay? But they've got a tremendous amount of skincare products and shaving creams and whatever you need, man. They got you covered over there for your shaving needs. You don't have to look like Jake Rowe and I do. You can go over and look a lot better than we do. So Dollar Shave Club, the spot to go hit. And if you're looking, oh man, you're on mute. You did it.
No way.
Yes, you did. I saw you. I saw your mouth move. I saw your mouth move.
That's wrong. I'm so bad at this. I've gotten where I've got to lie and not try to.
If you're looking for another place to go, and look, I keep telling you, Christmas is coming quick. Get over to sunheist.com, 20% off with code DawgsHQ20, and it works every time you check out. All right. So a number of different styles, great customer service, the full accessory package. They take care of it all. Free shipping on orders over $65, free returns. Get over, check out sunheist.com. You need some new shades. You're looking for a great Christmas gift. They got you covered over at sunheist.com. And then they got some big stuff on the horizon too. So definitely make sure you're staying tuned with sunheist.com. They're always doing something cool and something different over there. And great product they have.
Let me say something here too. I'm not one of these people that likes to let's create a sense of urgency, because we've been partners for Sunheist for a long time. But that code is not going to be valid much longer. So you need to go ahead and really jump on that in the next few days. Sunheist, listen, it's a perfect time to get some shades for Christmas. And listen, if you get them and you don't like them, send them back. Their customer service is unbelievable. And I can tell you this, we got Rusty a pair, and he tells me probably twice a week, man, these are the best sunglasses I've ever had. He's got 2 pair now, sure. And he just kind of cycles through them, and they're tremendous. I mean, I've got 2 pair. I'm probably going to get a 3rd here pretty soon, just because I want another pair. I want another pair of aviators from them, and just a different style, because I've worn mine till they, the nose pieces are probably going to come off of them here pretty soon, but they're really an unbelievable product. Go check them out. And listen, Shane and Mary Heist, they live in Jefferson, Georgia. Their warehouse is in Winder, Georgia. They are right here in Athens. You're probably going to be able to find them on some game days here coming up. With a couple home games left in the season. So go check out Sun Heist. Get your Christmas presents there. Just wanted to give them a little extra attention here on this. I think this is probably the last show we're going to be doing with them for a little bit, because like you said, they've got some cool stuff coming on the horizon, and we'll be kind of reconnecting with them in the future. But that code right there, DawgsHQ20, save 20% on Sun Heist. It's worth it. It's worth every single penny. And these are not glasses that break the bank to begin with. These are not $300-$400 glasses. These are most of them under $100, and then you can save an extra 20%.
Absolutely. Gird your loins, Jake Rowe. It's prediction time. It's prediction time. I think we've kind of beat around the bush on this throughout this whole show, how we're feeling about this. What's kind of your take on this? How do you kind of see this one playing itself out?
First thing I want to say to everybody out there is if you live in North Georgia, within an hour and 20 minutes from Atlanta, fly down to Jacksonville one time, because I'm about to do it for the third straight year, and it is an absolute game changer. Being able to fly out first thing on Sunday morning and be home, 2 hours before NFL kicks off on Saturday.
Yeah, what is that? Like, I mean, what is it, a 45-minute flight?
That's about an hour.
Okay.
You get up, you plane out for like 10 minutes, and then you're descending, basically. That's probably wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I don't know anything about aviation. But I do know that, you watch a movie, flip on that live TV, or if you're like me and a little bit of a workaholic, you're, trying to get ahead on some stuff, and whatever it is a perfect little, setup there. A couple hours in the air, a couple hours at the airport, a little Delta Sky Club action, get off the plane, go get dinner, get a good night's sleep, a little taco lou after the game, little bearded pig before the game, best burn-ins in Florida. If you know, you know. It's awesome. It's the best you can do as far as, start looking around February or March for a sub $300 flight to Jacksonville, and you will.
Well, you're not going to have to worry about it next year.
That's true. Dang.
Yeah.
In Atlanta next year, and then in Tampa.
I think Atlanta next year, then Tampa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I might try to go to Tampa.
Bad to say about Tampa.
I might try to go to Tampa. I've never been to Tampa, so I might try to make that trip.
You've never been to Tampa?
I've never been to the west coast of Florida. I've been to the Panhandle, but I've never spent any time on the west coast of Florida.
You're a Yankee.
Yeah. More so than you, I guess. But
you're a carpet guy. Hey, there we go. Roos is giving me credit for being from the South and not saying I'm not.
Well, I mean, you are from Florida, so I mean, Georgia is north of Florida. So
I mean, I live a lot further from Florida. I grew up a lot further from Florida than you did Tennessee.
No, I'll tell you, my main prediction for today is that a Delta Sky Club is going to hate to see you coming. I mean,
right.
they every time. I mean, look, if you know somebody who's working at the Sky Club in Atlanta, just go ahead and text them.
Hide your cheese cubes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and give the Delta Sky Club some advice right now. Don't put out the cheese cubes today.
This man like an old hound dog. I mean, just out there just munching on cheese. I know you're gonna be out there killing it. And like you said, it's been a while since I've been to Jacksonville, but if I were going to go back, I would definitely fly. I definitely think that's the way to do it, because that is kind of a brutal trip. The only real break and the only real reason I ever enjoyed doing that was to go to Brian's Giant Subs. Shout out to Brian's.
Yes, 100%.
Non-paid advertisement. We wish they'd pay.
Non-paid advertisements. The official sub shop of DawgsHQ. But I will say this: Jurassic Subs out in Bremen. Palmer turned me on to that, and you get out there on I-20. If you're headed west, Jurassic Subs out in Bremen is also incredible. Normally hits some two dude seafood, but my buddy Jason Bogus is going to be in town this weekend, and we're going to go grab a steak tonight. So that's going to be the move this evening. But the big thing about the flying thing, God, we're so off track right now.
I mean, we're talking cheese cubes and subs,
yeah. But the biggest thing about flying is folks started going down to Jacksonville last Saturday, maybe Sunday, and then some went on Monday, Tuesday, throughout the week. Everybody comes back at the same time. Right. And I have been in some 6.5 to 7 hour quagmires trying to get home. Like, I think one year it was so stressful getting home. Me and you and Patrick Garvin were on the way back. We didn't even work together at the time. You were at UGA Sports. I was at 24/7. I think we even stopped and bought a pack of cigarettes.
We just stood in the parking lot and smoked just to burn some time.
We got to Milledgeville and we were just like, well, God, I need some nicotine. I need something.
The worst, man. Coming back, going down to Florida, the anticipation's great, right?
Yeah.
Coming back on Sunday, that is that's a miserable ass drive. That is a terrible trip back. and it is, and you've gone hard all weekend, and you stayed up too late after the game, and you're just trying to get back to your life, and it's just not working. And so, yeah, I'm with you on the flight thing. Look, let's talk about the game a little bit here, though. Predictions, Jake. How do you see this one playing itself out?
Listen, I'm certainly not telling you if you expect to see the same old Georgia defense that you've seen all year. I'm not telling you, hey, you're an idiot. I'm not, but I don't know, man. My gut feeling is that, and I paused to say this, and I'm all these caveats because I really thought that Georgia would kind of flip a switch and start to show some improvement last year, and it didn't. And I'm still thinking about a lot of the things that happened last year that I thought would happen and didn't. But I just think Georgia's going to play better. I think Georgia's going to play better, in the first half of this football game, and I think they're going to get off to a better start defensively. I think that this bye week coming in a spot where there's plenty of game film. You've got 420 minutes of game film at this point to kind of go over and rehash. I just think Georgia plays better now. Not necessarily dominant, not necessarily, oh my God, Georgia's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But I do think they get off to a faster start defensively. I like the matchup of the offense, and I'm honestly kind of stalling here because I can't remember what I turned in for my pick, but I think it was 28-13 is what I picked for Georgia. I think Florida's going to move the ball, but without Vernell Brown, without some depth at running back, I do think Georgia can kind of squeeze the life out of Florida a little bit and kind of cover this game. But I know some folks are out there picking Florida, and I can certainly see that logic. I just think that's a lot less likely than Georgia taking control of this game and kind of stiff arming Florida the whole way.
I always go and check over at BetMGM before I make my pick. And I was quite surprised, honestly, to see that this game was only a 7.5 point spread. I really thought it would be a bit more significant than that.
What's significant about that, if you want to know the truth, is that it did dip down to 7, and now it's back up to 7.5.
Yeah. So that seems a little interesting to me, quite interesting, I would say. But look, Georgia's riding a 4-game win streak in this series coming into this game, and they've won each of the last 4 games by more than 2 scores, or by 2 scores or more, I should say.
And they've covered 3 games in a row.
So I don't think that Florida gets the ship right in this one. I mean, look, that was when things were going well for them. That was when they had all the pieces. That was when, hope sprang anew. This is a more downtrodden team, certainly this year. I think that Florida will probably get some plays in on Georgia. Like I said, a lot of guys are going to be playing super motivated. I picked this one 34-13, and that was my final prediction on this one. I think Georgia's going to run away with it. I think that even if you have those problems in the first half, I don't see it spilling over to the second half. If it's 7-7 at halftime, people are going to be absolutely losing their minds, and I can understand why, but I would encourage you not to, because Georgia's been a second-half team all year, and I think that certainly they can ride on that, and hopefully they corrected some of those mistakes this week, this off week. So I got it 34-13 in this one, and looks like I am surging a little bit here in the picks. Just came out. I'm 14-12. You've fallen to 12-14, so moving on up in the world.
I got nothing to say about that.
Yeah, I bet you know.
I don't know why I had to catch that stray. I don't know why that
I've actually vaulted. I was way down, and I vaulted back up to second. Now,
I just want to point out, I don't mention anybody's record at all. And here we go. You embarrassed me in public in front of my friends. I was over 500 for a minute there. I think I can't remember where I was at, but I was over 500. I think it was like 9-7 at one point.
I've only I think this is my first week above 500 this season, so
yeah,
feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, we've had some runs. Palmer had a real good run last year. Rusty's on fire this year.
I had a 5-0 last year, and that was probably one of the highlights of my entire life. I picked every single game correctly. I wish I had done that at the casino, but no, it's look, like I said, I think Georgia is able to pull this one out. I think that Florida hits a couple plays, but at the end of the day, there's just too much going on for the Gators, man. I mean, too many guys out, too much turmoil, too much guys probably looking ahead. Where am I headed next? There's just a lot going against Florida at this point.
Is it going to be a cheese cube shortage?
Yeah. While we're making predictions, what's your current prediction on Florida's next head coach?
I don't know. I'll say Eli Drinkwitz.
That's kind of what that's my feel too.
I don't really. The funny thing about the coach thing is a lot of people really get. I don't get revved up by it. Like, it just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. I never really have. Really. I mean, it's. I don't know if it's because of, like, Georgia having 5 head coaches in the past 40 years or 50 years or however long it's been or what. I just really haven't ever taken a lot of. Honestly, I get more fired up about when these coaches get in place, what assistants they're hiring. And I really get into that because that's a lot of moving parts right there. But I mean, if I had to just take a stab at it, I'd say Eli Drinkwitz, and I think that'd be a good pickup.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good hire for them as well. And then it wouldn't surprise me. Somebody mentioned this the other day, and I was like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. What if you hire Drinkwitz and then Missouri ends up with Dan Mullen? I could see that. But I think that would be a good fit. Guys, look, it's cocktail party weekend. Mix in a water along the way, especially if you're pounding cheese cubes. We will be back with you on Sunday evening to talk about this one, break it all down for you. We got full coverage of the game down in Jacksonville. So make sure you get over to DawgsHQ. Come hang out with us. And if you see Jake Rowe out tonight, no, you didn't. Okay? That's all I got to say about that.
No camera phones. No camera phones. We love you guys.
See you guys.